It is 7:03 on the 5th of February 2020, and we are on our way to the bus stop so that we can catch a ride to the Magic Kingdom. So we are both excited, as you can see by Alyssa's celebration ears. Hello and welcome to our channel. I'm Mike.
And I'm Liz, and this is our 6th episode of our Disney World vlog series.
Now if you've missed some of the series, you can either click on the link in the description below, or you can click on the card that's appearing above Liz's head.
Today we are taking you on an adventure to the most magical of kingdoms.
First we'll offer you our impressions and experiences.
Then we'll provide a list of 9 tips to help plan your day.
Particularly how to ride hot ticket attractions like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train without FastPass.
So grab your mouse ears and we'll scurry into it.
Oh boy! So the walk from our room at Pop Century to the bus stop was about 4 minutes. We got on the bus at about 7:08 in the morning, and the bus ride took us about 18 minutes. We got through bad checks, scanned into the park by about 7:35, and they actually opened up the gates at 7:43, so our timing was very nice. Right as we entered the park, we headed straight for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So we're in the queue for about 18 minutes, not too bad. It was kind of the primary reason why we rope dropped the park. Otherwise it would have been, an hour and a half or so.
The queue line was really neat for that.
Yeah, it was really
very
cute.
interactive.
Yeah, there were all sorts of like jewels that you could touch.
And they made, I think they made a
noises.
chiming noise.
Yeah.
And they lit up.
You could put your hand underneath certain props and water would come out. You could spin some of the items and projections would light up on the ceiling. Yeah, there was a lot of fun stuff in that queue. It was so classic Disney. It was just like, for me, it was maybe like the perfect representation of what a Disney World ride is. Yeah, so you can see why the lines are always so long for that ride, and why it is that whenever people are doing rope drop, most of them go straight for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Now it's limited on what your movements can be in the park whenever you rope drop it, so a lot of the rides aren't open that early in the morning, but it was definitely worth it rope dropping because it saved us so much time overall during the day.
Yeah. So Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is a roller coaster where you sit in a mine cart, and I thought this ride was so fun. My favorite part of the ride was going up a hill and the dwarves are singing hi ho, hi ho. And you can see their shadows on the wall as you're going up, and I thought that was so magical.
Yeah. It was a very cute ride. And I liked how toward the end of the ride, as you're waiting to come back into the station, they have the little hut there, and Snow White and the dwarfs are dancing and that sort of thing. And if you kind of look around the corner, you see the witch waiting, And so that was a really fun moment, and I just loved the theming throughout that ride. It was so much fun. It was so classic. Yeah.
And you go in and out too, like at the roller coaster. You're out. There's parts that are outside,
right? And
then there's also parts that are inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We definitely recommend you go on it when you can.
Yeah. So Peter Pan's Flight was our next ride, and once again the queue line was amazing. So many cool interactive things.
That might have been the best queue line.
I was blown away.
That was really good.
So there's a part where there's it looks like shadows on a wall, but you can interact with the shadows.
Yeah. Yeah, it was these bell shadows. There aren't any bells there.
There's nothing there, but
you can reach up and your shadow will interact with the bells.
Yeah.
You can ring them. Something that was really cool about the bell shadow interaction was that there was one point in which a little kid walked up and he wanted to interact, but he was too short. So the bell actually descended from the ceiling so that he could touch it. I have no idea how they do it. It's magic.
Magic. So Peter Pan's Flight is a dark ride, and you are riding a ship, kind of like you're floating over different characters.
Yeah, you go
like
to
a
London
city setting, maybe. Yeah, and they use black light so all the things are colorful and they glow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I liked it too, and it was unusual because you're floating over things when normally when you're on a ride, everything's on eye level.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's below you, which I thought was an unusual perspective.
So from Peter Pan's Flight, we headed over to Tomorrowland, and we got to see the Flight of the Navigator ship. That's been painted, and they've added parts and stuff, but that's actually a prop from
And we had
the film.
recently watched the movie, so that was really fun.
It's a classic. I grew up with it. So it was neat to see a piece of sort of film memorabilia, even though it was really veiled.
Yeah, it looked pretty different.
Nobody's gonna just guess that that's what that is, but it was cool to see it in person.
Yeah. So in Tomorrowland, our next stop was Space Mountain. I was so excited for this ride.
Yeah, now Space Mountain was the first time that Disney decided to make a ride that would appeal more to teenagers. They wanted to draw more teenagers into the park, give them something more exciting to do. So it was, I would say, the most intense ride in
I thought it was the most
Magic
thrilling
Kingdom.
ride.
Yeah. So it's a dark ride.
It is very fun.
It's a roller coaster. Now, I was a bit distracted riding the ride because right as it was starting off, my magic band popped off my wrist. I don't know if I hit it on something or what. But
of course, it's
off.
on the fast ride of all
right,
rides.
Yeah, so I'm trying to make sure that my backpack is down and tight and it's not going to fall out or anything's going to fall out of it. And I'm struggling to get my magic band on, so I was a little distracted, especially at first. I was able to get it on, but it was a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, when they take the picture during the ride, you could see Mike holding onto his band.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. I also liked the Space Mountain gift shop. That was pretty cool. They had lots of magic bands, special designs that you could get for that. I really liked the Space Mountain exclusive products that they had in there as well.
Actually, my favorite sweatshirt was a Space Mountain sweatshirt for women, and I wanted it so bad. I should have bought it because I think that was the only shop I saw it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there is a fuel rod station inside the Space Mountain gift shop as well. And so just a little tip in case you need some extra power for your phone or camera or whatnot.
So after Space Mountain, we went to Joffrey's Coffee. Once again, I'm shocking, I know.
Yeah. So we got the Mission to S'mores latte and a hazelnut cold brew. And they were both really good.
Those might have been my favorite Joffrey's coffee drinks that we had.
Right.
There was a little bench right next to the coffee shop, and we just sat there, and there's nobody else there. We just chilled. It was
really
nice
relaxing. To just relax. One kind of fun thing, when we were standing in line at the gate, I left Liz where she was and went around so I could get a map of the park. And so there was a stand there, and I saw that it had the maps in it, and I reached in and grabbed one. And we started using it. We were using it through the park. And by the time we got to Joffrey's, I noticed that it wasn't in English.
Oops.
And I had grabbed a Portuguese one, so from the back I couldn't tell that they had all sorts of different languages on their maps, which is nice. It's good to have. I just had to do a little translating as well.
Look at the pictures.
Yeah, so that was fun.
From Tomorrowland, we exited the park and took the monorail to the Contemporary, which is a resort.
Yeah, it's on the lake there right next to the Magic Kingdom. It only took us, I want to say, 3 minutes to get over to the Contemporary. The trip back was much longer because we had stops at the Polynesian and Grand Floridian. So that was more like a 20-minute ride, I want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really nice just hopping on there and heading straight over. When we arrived, we checked out the Fantasia shop and BVG, a couple of shops that they had inside the Contemporary, and they had some really cool contemporary-specific memorabilia.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people realize if you take the Express Monorail, you can actually visit other resorts and you can check out their restaurants or their gift shops.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing is that you don't have to have a park ticket to visit any of the other resorts that they have on property. You can take a bus there, you can take a Lyft or something like that, and you can consider that part of your park experience is just checking out the different resorts, eating at the restaurants. So we wanted to head over to the Contemporary to eat at the Wave, because they had this really nice breakfast buffet. It was what a spread!
Yeah.
It was so good.
So normally when you have a buffet, the food is meh. It's okay. I thought everything was just delicious, very good quality.
And some,
so
I mean, they had the the Mickey waffles and the bacon and the sausage.
Some things were themed.
Things that you would sort of expect at a Disney resort. But they also had smoked salmon and eggs Benedict.
Like yogurt parfaits with the little bubble things on top.
They had a really good juice as well.
Yeah, it was unusual. And actually, when we were leaving, she's like, "Oh, you want these to go?"
Yeah, she gave us
no
some
extra
cups to go.
charge. Just like
some fresh ones.
take it
So
with you.
it was nice.
And they included coffee as well, which I wasn't expecting.
It's about $20 a person, but it was definitely worth it. It was nice to just kind of have a quick break from the park to just enjoy some really good food. And by the way, we keep on bringing up Joffrey's and how good it was. You can have some Joffrey's at home. So from the website, we ordered some Joffrey's wave-specific
It was a surprise!
Yeah, and it
so
was very, very good. So you do have to pay shipping. That was kind of the downside. But whenever you first sign up, they do give you 25% off. So that kind of helps keep the cost down a little bit. But it was very nice. It gives you a little bit of a taste of the parks.
I've enjoyed this. It's been very good.
And so we'll probably be getting more as a special treat here and there.
Yeah. Not a paid advertisement.
So after we finished up our brunch, we hopped on the monorail and made our way back around to the Magic Kingdom. So just before noon, we re-entered the park and checked out the Town Square Theater. And as we were heading down Main Street, the Main Street Transportation Company was putting on a show. And so it was kind of fun to see them like singing and dancing and doing their thing.
That was cool. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Mary Poppins theme, maybe? I don't know. The style of dress reminded me of Mary Poppins.
Right, yeah. Kind of turned of the century, yeah.
So after the show, we headed over to Adventureland and went on the Jungle Cruise ride.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. So they take you through, and the captain of your ship is doing puns the entire time.
Just puns. Pun after pun after pun.
Yeah, it was really fun. Really funny. So tongue-in-cheek.
I can't imagine we're like memorizing that many puns in a row. But he just does it so many times. It's he probably dreams about puns. Let's be honest.
And I think some people do some jokes, some people do other jokes. But yeah, you're guaranteed to have a really good experience, regardless of who you
Except for the people that wrote it after we went. And,
that's right.
And it sunk.
They did have an incident after.
I think it was later that month. I think it was later in February.
Right.
Boat sunk.
These things happen.
Oops.
I did tell those guys before they left, don't argue with a rhino, because they will always get their point across in the end.
From the Jungle Cruise, we just went kind of around the corner and checked out the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. And that was really fun for me because I really, I grew up watching that film and I thought it was so fun to see some of the props and stuff. Yeah. And so there are some people who will complain that it feels like a queue without a ride.
I didn't think that.
But I thought it was cool, and it was nice to just kind of.
It's not supposed to be a ride.
Around and yeah.
It's not supposed to be a ride.
Right. So I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So after the treehouse, we went to the Enchanted Tiki Room, which was a show using animatronics. It had birds that sing throughout the show. It was probably one of my most favorite things.
Yeah. It's a classic Walt Disney design, complete with the music and the voices and that sort of thing. And so, I mean, talk about classic Disney. It was a lot of fun.
I wanted to film it, but again, they asked us not to.
Right, they told us not to do that. Yeah. So, but it was really cute. Lots of fun. I would definitely go back on that the next time we go.
Very, very fun show.
Yeah. So we headed from the Enchanted Tiki Room over to Pirates of the Caribbean. We had a FastPass. The regular queue was like 45 minutes, but it took us only about 5 minutes to get through with the
It was quick.
FastPass. Yeah.
There was also a sign that said that you may get wet as you're going in, and I didn't know to what extent that was.
There was a little bit of a drop toward the beginning of the ride.
Yeah, it really was nothing, but I didn't know, like, am I going to get soaked? So I actually took my mouse ears off. I had like a little fluffy thing on my bag. I was just like, I don't know what's going to get
really
wet.
Not necessary,
But it was really not bad. It was like sprinkles.
And it was fun. And what was interesting about it is it was a mix of classic Disney ride with some newer things that they added, like the Jack Sparrow figures. Yeah. And so I thought it was fun. It was neat to see some of the classic scenes that inspired things in the film series. And I don't know, it was a lot of fun. It's definitely worth going on.
And the gift shop was all pirate themed.
Yeah, it's very impressive gift shop.
Big barrels with swords.
Yeah, definitely check it out when you go. From Pirates of the Caribbean, we headed into Frontierland. And our first stop there would have been Splash Mountain, but it was closed down for refurbishment. They pretty much always close January, February.
I really wanted to go.
Yeah, we hear that it's one of the best rides in Magic Kingdom. But unfortunately,
February.
didn't get to go in.
What do you do?
What we did get to do was Big Thunder Mountain, and that was a lot of fun. I really liked the theme. In fact, the theming in Frontierland was just kind of cool all the way around.
Standing in the heat was a little
right, but we were
not
in a
comfortable.
desert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're
that
in a
makes
desert,
sense.
so that makes sense.
Okay.
Definitely not as bad as it would have been if we'd been there in summer, though.
Oh well, for sure.
So I mean, it would have been pretty intense, a warmer part of the year.
And you could also see Tom Sawyer's Island on
Yeah.
the other side. We didn't get to go on that.
No, we didn't have time to do that. There just were things that fell by
It
the
looked
wayside.
like the raft too was having some issues getting people
Yeah.
over, so it's like,
Right, yeah.
let's
So
just go another time.
I would say, the next time we go, if we can, I would like to head over there and just kind of check things out. So Big Thunder Mountain was a pretty fun roller coaster ride. I enjoyed it. I thought it was neat.
Not
with
as
the
fun as
desert theming.
Space Mountain, but
I don't know.
was
They're
still
just different. They're kind of different.
Space Mountain.
Yeah. So it took us about 7 minutes to get through that queue line, and posted wait time for standby was 50 minutes. So that is one ride that is definitely worth doing FastPass for.
After that, we went to the Country Bear Jamboree show. Once again, another great show.
Yeah.
It had so many animatronic bears, and
Yeah.
they're singing, and again, they're singing. And
Yeah.
it's hilarious. It was so funny.
Yeah, it was pretty goofy, but I thought it was fun, and especially on a really hot day, it's gonna be nice to go in there and get a little air conditioning and sit down for a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we recommend it. There are various innuendos in the show,
That's true.
but it's gonna go over kids' heads,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really worry about that. It was just really entertaining for us. So pretty much right when we exited the Country Bear Jamboree, they had a parade go by.
Well, you could hear it coming, and I'm like, I don't want to miss it, but it's like, we were in a weird spot, so it's like, okay, I guess we're going to watch the parade here.
Yeah.
I thought the parade was really great, though.
Yeah.
The cast members that they hire to be like the Disney princesses and all the different characters are really spot on.
Yeah.
They're very, very strict about who they pick to
Yeah.
represent the characters, which makes it feel more like you're meeting the character.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that.
Yeah. So it was fun. If you're into parades, it was a fun parade. So after the parade had ended, we headed over toward Haunted Mansion, and the line was insane. To the point where, it was like, well, I guess we'll come back and ride it at some point.
Well, or there was also, we might just not be able to go on this ride.
Right. Yeah. It was pretty crazy. Now the parade had just ended, so that's the worst time to ride the rides that are near the parade route. But it was pretty crazy. So instead, I was able to get a fast pass for the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and so we re-entered Fantasyland and got some shots of the castle's north face. And then we noticed on our My Disney Experience app that the Winnie the Pooh ride had been shut down. It didn't say why, but it was closed. And so I thought, oh great, okay, I guess we'll look for something else. So I got some fast passes for Under the Sea, which is the Little Mermaid ride. The shift in theming was interesting. I thought it was going to be more consistent with kind of the rest of Fantasyland, but they actually changed it up a little bit. The Gaston's Tavern was pretty cool. They had this fun fountain, and I hear that their cinnamon rolls are divine. So what did you think of the Under the Sea ride?
It was fun. Yeah, again, they used animatronics, so a lot of fun music and movement.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. So after we finished Under the Sea, I noticed that we had this notification on our My Disney Experience app for a Multiple Experiences FastPass. And so what had happened is when the Winnie the Pooh ride shut down, they gave us this Multiple Experiences FastPass, and it gave us two options. Either we could ride the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh without a time block, so we could just ride it at any point, or we could ride any of the other rides that were on the list of rides that they gave to us.
Which was crazy.
And it was most of the rides in Magic Kingdom.
So we were like, what is this? We've never heard of this happening.
Yeah. So I didn't know about the Multiple Experiences FastPass, but it was so cool. So once we saw that and figured out how it
Haunted
worked,
Mansion.
we made a beeline for Haunted Mansion, And so...
And it was neat, too. We didn't even have to select it on the app.
Yeah. All we had to do was go up and scan with our magic bands, and it
just let us into the FastPass line.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So Haunted Mansion was a really classic ride, kind of in the same way that the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror was at Hollywood Studios. Really fun and so impressive, the effectiveness of the technology they used in that ride that's decades old. I just had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, kind of like there's characters and they're transparent.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Yeah, they use, the peppered ghost effects and things like that. Really effective, lots of fun, catchy music. It's one of those rides that you definitely want to go on every time that you go to Magic Kingdom. So, we recommend it for sure.
After Haunted Mansion, we headed over to It's a Small World, which I really kind of wanted to see because, everybody's pretty much familiar with the song. Yeah. And I will say, if you do not like things that are repetitive, this is not the ride for you.
Right. Yeah, it had to have been kind of close to a 20-minute ride.
Was it that long?
I think so. I think it was kind of close.
See, I enjoyed it. I didn't mind the music, honestly. Yeah. But I enjoyed it because there's so many cultures that are represented as you're going through, and I thought that was kind of fun. Yeah, they're shifting
the languages of the lyrics as you move through the ride.
And so you can hear the characters singing in different languages as you're riding.
So it's a fun ride to go on at least once, just so long as your boat doesn't break down. You'll manage to get out of there sane.
Hopefully. At this point, we were getting hungry, our tummies were getting rumblies, so we decided to go to the Harbour House.
Yeah, the Columbia Harbour House.
It was one of our cheaper meals. It was actually a counter service restaurant.
And so we actually headed upstairs. A lot of people don't know that you can head upstairs, and we got a table right near the window. You could look out on Liberty Square. A really nice view, and it was so quiet up there.
Yeah, there was like no one up there. Maybe a couple people.
And so we used the My Disney Experience app to mobile order, and our food came out pretty quickly. I just ran down and grabbed it.
Yeah, I got the tuna fish sandwich, which was really tasty, actually, and a side of green beans.
And something that I was really impressed about was the size of that sandwich.
I know, it was huge.
It was a really big sandwich, something like tuna fish, and they charge you $11 for it. And so I was like, I don't know about this, but it was actually really good size.
It was good
sandwich.
Quality too.
Yeah, nice multigrain bread and
I think it had like tomatoes and
it was loaded up pretty good.
Yeah.
And I got the trio platter, and it had fish and shrimp and chicken, and had a couple of sides, including some hush puppies with nice bits of corn in there.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to have enough food when we ordered, but the portion size was
plenty of food.
Huge.
Yeah, and it was really good. It was kind of whenever the food first came out, I was like, this is going to be a cheap meal. But as we started eating it, I noticed that it used really good quality ingredients. And so I definitely recommend that for a counter service restaurant.
Especially if you have a whole bunch of kids too. It's like a cheaper, more budget-friendly way to go have dinner together.
Right, yeah. And we definitely recommend that you head upstairs because it was so quiet.
It kind of felt like an old house.
Yeah. It was nice. The theming wasn't really over the top. It was kind of laid back and I thought it was good. So from the Columbia Harbour House, we headed over to Fantasyland again, passed underneath the castle. Maybe not all of you know that you can do that, but at certain parts of the day, you can pass underneath the castle, go through it. Yeah, and we had to get the.
It was actually hard to get pictures because everybody wants their pictures with the castle.
Right. Yeah. There were tons of people.
And I will say something too. I didn't look up what the park looked like in advance. For some reason, I was thinking the castle was closer to the front of the park. I didn't realize it was so
in the middle,
far away.
It's basically in the middle.
Yeah. So that was something interesting that I didn't realize.
Yeah, that's so that you can have this epic walk up Main Street.
Well, and you get a view. Just all these different areas in the park. You can actually see the castle.
It's actually very good for wayfinding purposes. Yeah. So you can see the castle from just about everywhere in the park. So it was fun heading out there as the sun was going down.
And of course, we had a gorgeous sunset. Perfect for a castle backsetting.
Yeah. It was really nice. So we were able to secure additional fast passes for the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And
Finally.
So we hopped in that line and rode it, and it was adorable. That was another one of those rides that is based on a film that I grew up with.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to be reminded of some of those scenes that I'd forgotten. because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. You ride in this little honey pot.
My favorite part
carts.
was the part with Tigger, and you're like bouncing like a Tigger.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat.
So it was a lot of fun. It was adorable.
And actually, there was one part where you have Winnie the Pooh. He's coming out of his body, like in a dream sequence or something.
Dreaming, yeah.
And I don't know how they did that because it actually looked like it did in the film.
Like I said, magic.
Disney magic.
And I actually liked the 100 Acre Goods shop that they had there too.
Yeah.
It was packed with Winnie the Pooh items, and it was really fun. They had some neat stuff in there as well.
Really cute little kid clothes, Winnie the Pooh. After that, we went to the Mad Tea Party, which I was so excited to ride.
It's the classic teacup ride.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm like, we gotta ride this ride.
You have to ride it. Yeah, and there was no line. I mean, it took us 1 minute to get on the ride, and so it was a lot of fun.
And then when we went on, of course, you in the center part you can spin as fast as you want. I'm spinning as fast as it can go.
Yeah,
that was pretty busy.
Yeah, it was good.
Something I also wish that we would have done was ride the classic Dumbo ride.
Yeah,
it's like whenever you see footage of like Magic Kingdom Park, it shows the Dumbo ride, and we didn't ride it. We were like.
Yeah,
wow,
we just ended up not really having time for it. So kind of toward the end of the day, we're rushing to get everything done before the fireworks show, and so
Next time.
So we did head over to Tomorrowland again, and rode the Carousel of Progress, which I
thought was going to be
a 21-minute ride. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was fun. They used the old songs and stuff. It was changed at one point.
It felt like a combination of between a show and a ride.
Yeah, it really was both.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to see them go through the different decades that they targeted for points of change, points of progress.
So there's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day.
We had time for one more ride, so we decided to go on the PeopleMover. There was actually a different ride I did want to ride, but we didn't think we'd have enough time to get on it. I don't know the name of it, but it was on. It was in Tomorrowland. It was like a space-looking ride. It was actually above the PeopleMover. So the PeopleMover ride, I think you were on a monorail.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's a little tram that takes you through. And what was kind of cool about it, too, is that you not only got to see Tomorrowland kind of from above, but it shows you like a model of the original concept for Epcot, Walt Disney's original vision for that park. One of the other fun things was that we were able to see the inside of Space Mountain.
That was wild.
With the lights on. And so it was pretty cool.
It was like crazy
to see
looking.
What it looks like.
Kind of scary. You're like, oh gosh. So you go like on the tracks, like are looping and intersecting with each other, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I was riding that.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. It was like a little backdoor into what it looks like in there. But it was fun. Nice. It's another spot that is really fun to just sit down and relax and just kind of enjoy yourself for a little bit.
After that, we headed over to the castle for the Happily Ever After show, and it was the biggest group of people I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. The vast majority of the park was packed into this area.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I really want a good view. Which I think we ended up with a decent.
We actually ended up with
a decent view.
Yeah, it's an 18-minute show, and it has fireworks and projections and all sorts of things. It was really neat what they were able to do with it.
It's like some of the projections on the castle made it look like the castle itself was changing. I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah. And then something that a lot of people don't realize is that if you stick around for something like half an hour after the Happily Ever After show, they do the Goodnight Kiss, which is a secondary show. Now, something that I didn't realize, I had heard that the Goodnight Kiss show was like 4 minutes long, something like that. It was another 15-minute show.
Yeah.
And so you get this full secondary show at the end of the night as long as you stick around. And most people did not stick around. Yeah. Like that park really cleared out.
I will say though, for the Goodnight Kiss part of it, the part of the show, this very, very tall guy, he stood in front of me. And I'm clearly like watching the show, I'm recording it. He walks in front of me. And it's like, there's no reason, sir, for you to walk in front of me when you are like 6'5". So that was kind of irritating, and I don't really understand why he did that, but it was still a good show.
So after the Goodnight Kiss show was over at about 9 p.m., we passed through the Emporium. So we got to see what they had.
I wanted to shop.
Store.
We didn't have time. But it's funny, there was actually a decent amount of people still shopping, but it's like the park's technically closed.
Yeah, they let you finish up your shopping though.
But it was like, I didn't want to be that person.
Not that
it's
person.
like shopping, and these people just want to go home.
Right, yeah.
So we just kind of like, tried to take it all in as we're like rushing through the different areas. I mean, the shop just keeps going on and on and on and on.
Right, it's very, very long.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to stop in there and just kind of see what it is that they had. So from Emporium, we stopped and took a few photos and then headed over to the bus and drove back to Pop Century.
Once we got back to Pop Century, we went to Everything Pop because we really wanted Dole Whip again.
Mm-hmm. We became addicts.
Actually, there was a Dole Whip I wanted to have in Magic Kingdom that was like a tropical flavor.
Oh, the I Love
And
You.
we didn't get it. And you can't get it at Pop Century.
No.
Next time.
Next time. Now, before we get into the tips, first a disclaimer. Obviously, a lot of these tips are only applicable once the parks resume normal operating procedures. So, with that said, let's jump in. You need to plan ahead and make a fairly solid, realistic itinerary, especially at Magic Kingdom, which has the highest number of attractions of any park in Florida. We use the now defunct Wunderlist app, but Microsoft To Do works just the same.
To rope drop, Magic Kingdom arrive about 30 minutes before the earliest opening time.
Right, you don't have to get there as early as you do at Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom. Though Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom may require alternative methods, Disney Transportation Services should get you to the Magic Kingdom in time for rope drop.
If you rope drop Magic Kingdom and have good mobility, briskly walk straight to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, ride Peter Pan's Flight 2nd and Space Mountain 3rd. If you end up towards the back of the first wave, ride Peter Pan's Flight first, then Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Space Mountain. This will cut down on your wait time considerably and allow you to use your fast passes on the other rides mid-AM to early PM when they are the most useful. So get those castles or character photos, but do it later in the day.
Another FastPass tip, people's plans change throughout the day, so keep checking your My Disney Experience app for fresh openings. This is especially important for Magic Kingdom where there's so many rides.
After the park opens to the public, Main Street can get really crowded. So if you want a break from the park or to snag a meal outside the park, you can take a shortcut by passing through the Emporium.
Speaking of meals, the best times to eat are when people are riding rides, and the worst times to eat are when others are eating. So eat early or late, but never at typical meal times.
Likewise, remember that the lines are shorter during mealtimes, parades, and fireworks shows.
And while we're on the topic of fireworks, just about everyone stays for Happily Ever After. However, tons of people leave en masse afterwards and miss the Goodnight Kiss show. And do you really want to be one of those people? Magic haters? Now, there are 4 Walt Disney World parks. You may think that the series ends here.
However, on our departure day, we visited Disney Springs, so look for that in the next episode.
It'll be out in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching.
Bye! At this point, we were getting hungry.
Absolutely
we were getting
famished.
the little dinner rumblies.
Peter
Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Sorry.
Did. Yeah, a dozen's not too bad. I mean, we're halfway there.
Whoa! Living on a prayer.